We're going to have probably a smaller audience right now, but we're going to have this weekly. We just want to make sure that we have this weekly. So anyone that wants to join can join, give some small tidbits on the app as well as just any kind of local business as well. Alfred, I honestly would go to the store maybe later on, get some Guinness. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you guys all have some alcohol here to hang out. So real quick, we're just going to walk through the app, honestly, just for like 2-3 minutes here, just so whoever hasn't gotten access to it. If you want a more in-depth understanding of how the app works, please go to our YouTube channel, as well as I think Sagar posted it on Discord, right? In the announcements, I think.
Sagar? Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool. And our first video walks through options flow, walks through our app in general, walks through some of Alec's strategy. We're here today to just walk through the weekly information and then go from there. So real quickly, just going to walk through the app, and then we're going to talk through some weekly events as well as I'm going to give some tips on setting alerts. There were some fantastic alerts this week from the app. It's just so easy to set up and so easy to take also. If the chart looks bullish or bearish, depending on how you want to trade it. I'll show you guys a few examples, and then we can go from there. Cool. So first things first, whoever hasn't seen the app, we're going to go through our 4 main pages: our snapshot page, our flow page, our contracts page, and our alerts page. One quick thing in terms of general agenda, we're going to walk through this for 4 or 5 minutes. Then I'm going to dive into the alert section to describe how that works, how I best situate it and do it. Then we're going to move on to Gabe, who's going to describe some of his strategy. And then Alec is going to come in and describe some of his best trades this week, so you guys can see how the whole process works. Really quickly, for everyone who hasn't seen the app, the snapshot page, flow page, contracts page, and our alerts page are the 4 main pages, obviously with the settings. First page, what we're doing here is seeing total money order flow for everything in the sphere of the day of trading, right? So today's snapshot shows you all the top money flow that came in by total money dollar value. And you can easily be able to filter from there. So from weekly calls or just weekly puts, I can see where everything's trading. If I just want to see weekly calls that are stocks, I can as well, or ETFs the other way. So you can see all that money flow. And if you click into one, this will just be the weekly call flow. That is, weekly call flow for Tesla, which is really cool. So everything will filter out for you as necessary. And you can see how fast it is. Pretty awesome. Next thing is the top right window, the historical search. You can go into any day and backtrack. We're going to show you that in a second, how that works. I'm going to backtrack to yesterday, do some back testing, show you how GameStop and actually Facebook flow in the morning gave me an alert on my phone. Super easy call. Chart was bullish, got in. Really easy to follow that, and then move forward from there. So that's our main page. Next page is our today's flow page. Same thing, you can filter specific options for all tickers, or you can search by individual ticker. So I just search Apple, weekly call flows at volumes over open interest, calls. Awesome, you can see all that information. I can go to any flow, any stock we're trading. Awesome, you can see that information. If I just want to see like Titan sweeps, actually no Titan sweeps. Oh, there it was actually, yeah. Titan sweeps today, you can see that, pretty awesome. Unusual flow, same thing. So that's great. You have an indicator at the top right, which shows put to call ratio, puts, and number of calls as well. Wow, massive number of calls, as you can see today, right? Pretty crazy. And then also you can do historical searches. So the first historical search on the main page was to change the full view. So if I change this to another date, the flow page, the contracts page, and the alerts page automatically change to the past day. I mean, on this historical indicator at the top right, you can actually search any stock and to see it. Hey, I just want to see all of Apple's flow for this week. Really cool. Then I can see from Monday through Wednesday all of Apple's flow that came in. Obviously, there's crazy amounts, but I can filter it out if I want to. same way that we discussed a little bit earlier, right? So weekly calls, all the weekly calls for this week. Yeah, so you can do all that as well to see all the material. So really cool. And then one last thing on this page is the sorting option. I usually sort by cost as well. If I want to see top flow value coming in, maybe weekly top flow. It's really cool, really interesting to see how that works. So sorting's at the top right, and then the filters obviously stay there on the page. Next page, which is I think my favorite page, is the today's contracts page. Obviously, you can filter by generally the same thing. Our algorithm captures level 1, level 2, and level 3 contracts. Each level is described. We can describe you on our Discord channel, but it's by total order value and number of orders. So only the top contracts traded go to a level 3 contract, which I think Gabe will show you in a second, how he traded BA today based on the flow. Really easy. And then what you have here, which is I think the best indicator on the app, is by time frame. So if you're trading in the morning or midday, and let's say I'm 12 p.m. Eastern, just looking at a stock I'm trading, I can see 5 minutes, in the last 5 minutes, midday, where's the flow coming in? Obviously, you can't see no contracts right now, but you'll see for this section, I can go for an hour back, 30 minutes back, 15 minutes back, etc. Also here is I can set my contract alerts. So whenever contract alerts come in, I have it for all 3, but I can set those pretty easily. And then get those push notifications directly to my phone. So everything's super awesome. As we go from there, be super easy. And you can see all these level contracts that came in that show rapid flow detection, as well as the number of orders that come in. So you can see for BA, constant flow all day, which Gabe will describe in a bit. So you have that page. And like I said, guys, if you need a more in-depth analysis of this, please look at our first video. We'll probably walk through this for 30, 40 minutes. And then today's alerts. This is kind of what I want to show you guys today, how to set good alerts for you guys as you move forward in the process. So today's alerts here, you can see that we set, or at least I set, all tickers that expire within 7 days that have a total premium of over $250,000 that are calls at the ask and are sweeps. So when I say this, what I want to do is get the most aggressive contracts. And I think last time we discussed in our first call is aggressiveness is key, right? How can I pinpoint on the app to give me the information pushed directly to my phone that's the most aggressive? I sometimes might even do $500,000, right? So I only want to see the contracts that push the largest value. I just do 250 because I do it on weekly calls. So I can see there's very few flow items that come in for weeklies that are over this value. So you can see that they're out of the money at the ask, which are 2 heavy indicators that they are aggressive and super aggressive, especially with sweeps. You can see all those 3 indicators together will form a really aggressive model. Gabe, do you want to answer some of those questions in the chat? Just want to make sure.
Oh yeah, I just
okay, cool. Cool. So we'll show you this exact model, but like I said, I just do $250,000 calls at the ask, sweeps, out of the money, and weeklies. This just gives me the pinpointed information that tells me, hey, what is the most aggressive flow that's coming in that week? And then how can I trade off that, right? It's not going to give me the indicator that says, hey, get in here. But if the chart looks bullish and the flow comes in, that's a pretty good indicator. I'll show you guys in a second here. So I have the indicator here, and this is my feed for today. Obviously, there wasn't too much flow today because the FOMC meeting, obviously, throughout the day, everything was very choppy. I think we discussed earlier in our Discord. Trade lightly this week, guys. You're still quad witching on Friday, which is gonna be crazy. Be careful. Obviously, I think the futures are up right now and the market's at all-time highs, which is crazy. But I think Chairman Powell said they're not going to change interest rates most likely till 2023, or keep it pretty low. So everyone's really excited about that. The SPY's at all-time highs. I don't see why it can't go higher. But just be careful, guys. This week, just with quad witching, they're going to do a lot of manipulation for sure. Okay, awesome. So just an example of this. how these alerts work. And I'll show you actually yesterday as well. Tesla, I got a Tesla call 6 hours ago. It was at 11:30 p.m. 11:30 a.m. Pacific. And it came in for $428,000 with 2 days of expiration remaining. And you see the spot price was bought at $684.39, right? So when I look at this, I first have to decide, hey, this flow is pretty aggressive. Let's look at the chart, right? If I go to the chart here, what's really cool is that you can combine different things together, right? To initiate if a trade works. I always tell beginner traders, if you make it super simple, like if you can make it simple, right? So if stocks are trading above their moving averages, especially the lower moving averages, the 20 and the 9 moving average I use here, they are pretty bullish, right? And you want to buy, especially if they hold support, and then that's best time to enter, right? Don't enter as they're, as they're, topping out, right? Wait till they get back to support and then enter from there. What's really cool here is that alert came in right when it hit the support at 9-day moving average on the 5-minute chart, right? So if you guys are trading, you can even trade on your phone, right? We're not saying you have 6 screens on your laptop that you can see, but like use both these together to confirm those trades. So if you can see right at about 11:30 right here, if I can pinpoint right about there, that's when the flow came in, right? When Tesla met its 9-day moving average on the 5-minute chart, about right here at 684, it came in for $430,000 of 730 out of the money calls, right? So you want to do out of the money calls, right, on your alerts page, because that signals aggressiveness. This guy was trading almost $500,000 of calls, $50 out of the money, right? So that's super aggressive. Why is he doing that with two days expiration? He thinks it's pretty bullish, right? And you want to follow that big money. And this is perfect entry. If this didn't come at the entry right here, it wouldn't be the best play, but it's probably still a good play. This signified a fantastic opportunity for you guys to trade. And I think you just got to be on top of it. If you're getting those notifications, what's the harm of taking a 1 second look at the chart, right? Hey, oh, this looks pretty good, right? It's a good risk to reward ratio for you guys, right? Coming in here, I might take a $5 stop loss for a larger move up back to at least the high of day, which was almost 700. I take it right here when it reached support at the 90 MA. So that's an example here. I want to give one more example for these. Like I said, these alerts honestly have every Monday, Tuesday, I set these alerts and I just look at, hey, who's playing big for the rest of the week, right? And you'll see, honestly, it's crazy how much this has hit, especially in the past year as we've been utilizing the app. So one more thing I want to show you, I'm going to change the date now to yesterday to do some back testing. So I'm going to change the date, update my flow, and then come in and show you some more flow that came in, right? So the bigger the flow item, the more I look at it, right? So $250,000 in premiums is my call right there. But anything above $500,000 is crazy, right? And something that you definitely want to see. So this Facebook and GameStop flow that came in, pretty exciting, right? So GameStop with 280 weekly calls when it turned 280.78, and then GameStop with almost $900,000 in calls at 196 when it came in. And this is yesterday when right at the open, both stocks were pretty bullish. Facebook especially, I think it gapped up a little bit. So if I show you Facebook, and let's go back to Tuesday. Awesome, gapped up a little bit on the day, took off immediately, and about 240 right here on the spike, right here, it came in. I'm not saying, take the options flow is, I think, Lewis, it's we probably get it in within 30 seconds, probably maybe less than that. So it's updated within that time frame, so you'll get it right away. I wouldn't necessarily say with Facebook, especially on this call, to get in immediately, but if something is basing, if something is coming back to support, it's just another indicator for you guys, right? If you guys are already in Facebook, that's another indicator that someone's betting big. So wait for the support ranges, right? It comes back to support. There's massive flow that's coming in that's saying, hey, it's 280 or above. It's trading at 277, 77 right now, right? So think about it in your mindset as well. Do you think it's bullish versus bearish? And use this as another indicator for you to make that trade possible, right? Which is really cool. So, and GameStop as well. I'll show you guys real quickly. We had that flow, $900,000 worth of flow. Let's see. And this came in at, give me a second. One moment, guys. Awesome. So this came in on Tuesday. One moment, guys. Let me just check the chart. Okay, awesome. Tuesday. Okay, great. So this flow came in about 650 area. So right about here at the low right here, at about 177, it came in. With GameStop, almost $900,000 worth of flow. Weekly expiration for 220, I think, contracts. Those rose up in the next 20 minutes to around about that range, 210, 215. So when you guys are trading, find your levels, see what the support and resistance are for you guys. I'm not saying flow is the be all instrument you want to use, but if you think it's bullish, it's another confirmation for you. Massive amounts of flow for weekly out of the money call options or even put options. Use that as another confirmation. It should give you confidence, and that confidence, especially when it's above $500,000 for weekly calls, that's very unusual. Very unusual. Take that into your mindset. Set those notifications up. There's not too many a day. Even on a very busy day like Tuesday, there's maybe 7 or 8. This, something to view for you guys, and that's just a quick view of the app itself. So that's it for me. If you guys have any questions, let me know. There's always amazing flow that's coming in, especially if you at the start of the week, you set these alerts up. Check it out Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Amazing calls for the rest of the week, especially if the chart is setting up and looks bullish. I always go this way. So awesome. I'll hand it off to Gabe here now, and then we'll go from there.
All right, perfect. Let me go ahead and get my screen set up right here.
Cheers, guys.
All right. Well, first off, hey everyone, my name is Gabe. Hey. Oh. Sorry about that. My name is Gabe, and I trade using Titan Flow. I also work with marketing, and I'm the one behind some of the TikToks. Anyways, when I trade, I emphasize a lot on inside days and inside day trading and trading and range boxes and whatnot. The shares I have today do not represent that, but if you're in the server, you'll see me in your Discord server, you'll see me in trade ideas posting all the time. Anyways, so I have 2 trades here. The first one is Boeing off of technicals and flow. So as Pranal he was talking about Facebook, but we saw some crazy flow, level 3 contracts up here, and then some, oh no, that was the only ones we saw. Yeah, so some crazy rapid flow detected. Calls for blowing. Some of them came in the afternoon, which gives me bullish sentiment for tomorrow and whatnot. So if I wanted to swing, I could, even though I don't usually swing. But I saw a lot of them in the morning, right at open. As you can see, Boeing fired off at open. I did not catch this move, but I did see it happening. And I saw that eventually people were selling off their calls. Hold on. My apologies, I'm in the wrong section. Anyways, I I saw a lot of bullish calling in the morning, and then of course people are selling them off of here when you see more bids, even some puts right there, which didn't play out too well unless people sold. Another put out there, but people are selling their puts actually, which is giving me good sentiment. Anyways, so it's also formed this technical pennant setup, and the market's trading sideways, but it's looking good. The ideal entry would have been right. Oh, if this thing moved with me, I guess not. So right at the tightest point of that pennant is right where you want to get in, because you have a nice little risk reward ratio, which I cannot highlight here because I'm on my phone. I used to use trading on my computer, so I'll get that for you next time. You have a great little risk reward entry here where your risk, your stop loss is right below that little trend line, and your reward is pretty much the hive day. And so if you took this trade with that risk reward, you got over hive day. In fact, you got a massive 4 or 5 point move. So fantastic stuff there. And then I have another trade to highlight. It'll be Facebook. I found it also on the contracts page. This thing is like a lifesaver, y'all. Anyway, so I have Facebook there, and then another two Facebook down here, which means there's a lot of good sentiment for it. Go over to Facebook. And I mean, as you can see, Facebook had a massive day. I mean, from open, they like shot up at open just like Boeing did, sold off, consolidated, and then eventually made a move back to the upside. But in this little range right here, it was a amazing pickup based off flow, which came in. I mean, as you can see, pretty much this is just a certain portion, but this flow just came in all day. This came in at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and this came out super early in the morning. So yeah, and there's the little bit of the details page. Oh, all right, my app will not go out of that, so we'll come back over here. Anyways, great little trade here. I did not manage to take this one because I was a little bit occupied with other things, but nonetheless, still a great trading opportunity that I was able to recognize at least today. And yeah, that is all I have. Is there anything else you'd like me to go over? Hello.
All right, give me 1 second, guys. I'm just transferring access to Alec. Give me 1 second. There he is.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Alec.
Let me go ahead and share my screen, and then I got some stuff here. Here we go. Desktop one. All right, sweet. All right, guys. So I got a couple of charts I want to show you guys. You know, just some stuff that kind of, just so you can kind of piece together the stuff that I'm posting in my channel, right? Because I get it can be a little confusing sometimes. So what I'm going to do is kind of backtrack and look at it as if I were you guys, and then I'm going to show you guys what I see, kind of what is the thought process, and how are we executing. All right, so what did we have? Square, Facebook. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys some things I already had set up, and then just kind of walk through that. All right, so here's kind of a random one, and I wrote some notes here. Let me zoom out a little bit, right? But it's just kind of general education for any trade you take, right? So right here, I took a trade this morning on McDonald's, right? So this is the 1 hour time frame. This is this morning. And what I'm pointing out here to you guys is that rising support is a very significant area of value, right? So what does that mean? That means that we're basically buying it on the dip, but in a calculated way so that we're not just randomly buying it just because it sells off, right? This is a very precise entry we're taking based on what the chart is telling us, right? So what we can see here, if we zoom out on McDonald's a little bit, is that these green lines here, which are 20-day moving averages, they hold this very well, right? They supported this yesterday. When they sell off, they hold that, right, for a couple candles there. So what did we have this morning? Well, they ran up to about 225 pre-market, right? And then we saw some selling volume coming in. And in fact, they came all the way down from 225 to about 220, right? That's a pretty big drop. If we go to the daily, you have a lot of volume here, right? This is your volume down here. And this purple line signals the average volume. So anything above this purple line is considered significant volume. So if we go to this hourly, we say, okay, it sold off $5. There's an opportunity here, right? We don't have to buy the highs, right? A lot of people will say, wait for it to break back over the high. Well, we know that it's holding this rising support. Why is it rising? Because it's rising up as it's coming down, right? And this is our demand level where buyers are going to step in. So what do? We take it right on the green line. And sure enough, what does it do? It holds it perfectly, and we're able to ride it back up to about 223, right? So that's a nice $3 move. Another one I want to look at, very popular one people have been trading, is Facebook. I really like to trade the names that are very, being talked about a lot, because you want to follow the volume, right? You want nice price action when you're trading. So in this scenario, what we're looking at is something called a base build, which a base build is essentially a price point that's been tested and rejected several times, right? You can see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles on the hourly time frame where it pulled right up to about 282 and rejected it, right? And what's going on here, you see significant volume, is that every time it's hitting that, the sellers are breaking down a little bit, right? It sells off, but they're coming back to test it, and they're slowly picking away at it. So finally, and Powell helped us out a little bit here. We had that, essentially the market was open for 10 minutes today. There was about a 10-minute window after that meeting. But we finally broke through, and sure enough, $4 move right there, right? So this is really the two ways that you're going to see me trade. You're going to see me, I want to buy that dip, right? We have that rising support, or I want to buy a significant breakout. Another really nice one. And what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to show you guys again how I incorporate my flow. So I'm going to go ahead and post some screenshots in here because I'm not able to share the mobile app on my computer. But if we go over to here, I'm always looking at, as a day trader, I'm always looking at the weekly flow, because that's very aggressive if people are putting hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars into contracts that are only expiring in a couple days, especially if they're out of the money. So I'm on this screen, and sure enough, I see Amazon pop up, right? And that's a pretty significant order. At the time, I think Amazon was at maybe 3,070, and that's a 3,100 sweep, right? And that's a little over $3 million going into that sweep. So I go to the chart. This was around the first candle, and so far I'm not really liking it. It's kind of trading sideways, but I kept my eye on it all day, because what we have here, if we zoom out, we have a very significant level here, the 200-day moving average, that it hasn't even been able to claim it, right? You see it rejecting several times down here. And finally, thanks to our significant volume, remember, we're following the volume. We never want to get stuck in a trade with low volume. That's our worst nightmare. We have significant volume here to support this breakout of a level that we just can't seem to break out, right? So this is almost like a base build, except you're using moving averages. So it's fluid. It's not one set price point, right? And what do we get? We get 31.40. We get almost a $20 move there, right? Really nice trade. I forget if I had one on Boeing, but here we go. Yeah. And then the last trade I took today, Boeing, kind of the same thing, right? We have that base build. We have the rising support here that's kind of pushing it up, because those sellers aren't letting it, or the buyers, aren't letting it break below this significant point. We're kind of building under it. And finally, the significant volume steps in, and we're able to break. And then this is where we would sell, right? So once you're in the trade, you need to know where to sell. You want to sell where sellers are most likely sitting, right? To maximize your value, our measured potential. Well, our measured potential, we have a significant level here, the 50-day. So we're going to take this trade, and we're going to ride it up to that 50-day, catch about a $3 move. Let's see. So that's about it for me. That's just the trades I took today. Just a little kind of insight behind what I did. I'm trying to think. I think I had one more. It's one I took from Monday that was on the watch list, because I want to give you guys an example. Where was this at?
Oh, it's right
JMI
there.
plus 50, right? So if I say plus, that means I'm looking for it to break that level and hold it to enter on a day trade, right? I'm looking for a quick aggressive move. So we zoom out a little bit. We can see where it was 50. It might have been back here. Here we go. Right here, right? So we have this high right here that we just can't seem to break out of. We tested a little bit pre-market. It actually updated to right about 49.97, which is nice because beyond technical analysis, something important to understand about day trading is buyers and sellers, especially impulsive, really love round numbers, right? There's a reason you guys always see me post plus 50, plus 200, plus 201.5. Those round numbers, for whatever reason, just the psychology of trading, are usually areas where you see quick aggressive pops in names. So that's why you'll never see me post like plus 202.37, right? I'm always going to round to the nearest 50 cents. And that's just to kind of confirm the trade and make sure that people are really stepping in. So this one was pretty cut and dry, plus 50. We have the rising support. And sure enough, once we break that 50, we catch a nice about $2 move there. And now you can even go ahead and say, okay, now it's at 51.85, which we'll call 52. And sure enough, that's actually exactly where it's set there. And then they set it up to 53. So now going forward, we're going to be looking at that 53, right? Or you could even come down here and you could say, okay, 51.26. That's something maybe we could watch tomorrow, right? So, I mean, it's really nothing crazy. It's just looking for where are the sellers rejecting? What do we need to reclaim? And where are the buyers holding? That's all it is it's a channel of buyers and sellers and pinpointing where it makes sense to take a trade. All right. That's about it for me, guys.
All right, Alec, can I ask you two questions? Real quick?
Absolutely. Go for it.
All right, so first things first, how do you, aside from flow, but if that's one of your answers, then definitely throw it in there. How do you identify trades off the bat? Like, how do you find them ahead of time?
So you're talking about like, how do I find the names that I put in my watch list?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm asking.
Well, a big thing I'm looking at is, first of all, I don't want to give anyone the idea that this is an easy way to make money. Certainly it's nice day trading because you're usually done within the first hour of the day, but it really comes into where you really make your money is after hours, right? So I spend about 2 hours at night going through a couple hundred stocks, and I'm just looking for what entices me. Now, that being said, you have your bread and butter. You have names that you just know move, right? Whether it's significant volume, right? You have your NVIDIA, Tesla, Amazon, Boeing, Zoom, right? You have names that you just know move nice.
Right. Yeah.
And then outside of that, it's really just what is the word on the street? What are people looking at? What's moving significantly today? I know Pranal talks about relative strength and weakness, right? So you're looking at what is kind of outpacing its sector. What's the buzz in the news, right? Because just because we're trading off technicals, you can kind of use news to your benefit because usually with news comes volume, and with volume comes a greater opportunity. So always keep your eyes on the headlines. That's definitely a big thing. But yeah, I would say it's just, your bread and butter names. And then outside of that, just watching the news.
Yeah, that's a fantastic answer that covers a lot of the even questions that I didn't ask. So perfect. Thank you for that. And then the last thing would be, I know it's hard for some traders to wake up early in the morning, depending on where you're at. I'm luckily on the East Coast. Some people are, to wake up at 6:30 to trade. What would you say is the most ideal, like, let's just say hour before trading opens? Like, what is your checklist? Like, what are you going through? What are you working through in your mind? Like, what is your routine?
So I usually like to give myself at least 2 hours from open, which I know, like, for West Coast people, God bless your soul. I don't know how you do it. Fortunately, I'm on the East Coast. So if I wake up at 7:30, I have 2 hours till market open. The very first thing I'm doing is I'm looking at the setups I liked the night before, and I'm looking at futures. So I want to know, what are futures doing? Did everything gap up over my target? Like if I had Boeing plus 270, is it at 280 now? Because now I have to completely reconstruct my game plan. 270 isn't valid anymore. So I want to know, is my thesis from the night before still valid? If it is, then good. I want to keep an eye on that. And I'm spending a significant amount of time kind of reading the news. What are the headlines? What to look out for? Is there an FOMC meeting today? Because if so, I need to know that, because that could throw off some of my trades. What is the sentiment? Are we overextended? So I'm just kind of running through all these things in my head and kind of making a little checklist and making notes as I go along. Because things change on the fly. And if they do that, you have to give yourself time to adapt. If you do a little bit of research the night before and then you wake up 30 minutes before open, well, you're really doing yourself a disservice, because you're not really giving yourself enough time to know what happened overnight. What are the headlines in the morning? How is pre-market looking? What did futures do? It's really important to give yourself time. I would say like 10% of trading success comes from actually executing the trades, and the other 90% is the work you put in pre-market and after hours. That's really what it comes down to.
That's that's some really good advice, especially that last part about the 10% is the trade, and the knowing the levels and putting in the work to have a game plan is the 90% of it.
Yeah, I honestly I 100% agree with that in that respect. Even for someone that like the swing trades, I think taking the preparation to understand those trades, and also what's important, I think not so much for day traders, but for anyone that's swinging, is if the market's not going your way, especially in what happened in the past 2 weeks, like don't sacrifice kind of that mental capital you guys have, right? Like if it's not looking pretty and that you're not finding good setups and things don't run as they usually do, honestly, sometimes it's better to take a week off than chop around the whole time, especially if you're not consistently in that market, or like as a day trader, spend the time like Alec does, to make the pinpoint trades that you need, right? So I think it comes across the same way as swinging and day trading. Understand when it's the perfect opportunity, and like Alec said, like in options, you don't need a lot, right? You need a very small move to make your money, but you just have to be consistent in that manner too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great, Alec. Do you have anything else?
No, that's it. Was there any questions in the message tab?
There's two questions now. The first one is, do you prefer the SMA or the EMA?
Trading view scripts from the built-ins library. I created them myself. Yeah, trading view. I can send out a list. I'll post it in my channel of specifically which indicators I use. There's a couple ways around it because you kind of have to pay. How do you pick your strike price? Oh, they sent that to me as a DM. Well, yeah, one big thing, I'll get back to the other question real quick, but one big thing with picking your strike price is you don't want to overpay. So like this is really important. I don't want to take up too much time with this, but just really quick. I hate going in the money. Like that's like, to me, that's a cardinal sin. Don't go in the money. Now on Thinkorswim, which I trade with, a really important thing I'm looking at is the volume in the contract, because liquidity, just like how we need significant volume in the stock, almost as importantly, we need significant volume in the strike, right? So you can see this contract only has 10,000 volume. And how does that correlate? Well, the bid ask is almost $20 apart, but look at this one with 45,000 volume. It's only $8 apart, right? So you can get in and out of this without slippage, which, just real quick, slippage is when you instantly lose money because the contract is illiquid. So because it's liquid, we know that we can safely get out of this either to the upside or downside. Now, another thing I'm looking at is how much am I paying versus what is my potential gain. So this is known as risk versus reward. So if I'm paying $250, what am I getting on a $1 move? That's what I base everything off of. Well, my delta is 0.47, which means on a $1 move, I'm going to make about $47, which is really going to be about 50 with gamma. So I'm paying $250 to make $50 on a $1 move. Well, on this contract, I'm paying about $170 to make 34, which is nice. And on this one, I'm paying about $100 to make $23. So what I might do is I'll probably go for these 290s because I'm paying half the price. And the gamma is going to help me your percentage returns going to be better. So I'd rather buy 2 of these than 1 of these. Now, as you get closer to expiration on Monday, I'll take these 290s, But on Friday, if you're trading a contract that expires that day, that's where you're going to want to take these 285s, because you don't want to mess around with going out of the money. But I usually just like to follow the volume. So if the volume is at the money, then yeah, I'll probably take this 285. But there's also 38,000 contracts traded here, and it's pretty tight. So it's safe to go with these 290s. And then the last point is it comes down to your account size, right? If you're trading with $1,000, it probably doesn't make sense to go with these 285s, right? Maybe one, but you're probably better off taking 2 or 3 of these guys. So just keep in mind your account side and risk versus reward.
Perfect. I'm sorry
and
about that
then-
little interruption there. I don't know who that was. It was someone
No,
who
you're
was
good, man.
trying to talking about crypto from the Discord. So anyways, that volume thing, y'all, is so important. It's something that I didn't even realize until recently, but like if you have illiquid options that like nobody wants, I know that when we look at options, we usually just look at the strike and how much they cost, but you have to look at that volume because sometimes it might be worth going a little bit more further out of the money or further into the money or further, to the money to get a more liquid contract so that, even if the move is against you, you can still get out in time because they also just drop like crazy.
Dude, I used to make the biggest mistake. I used to buy like, if it was like $100 stock, like 117.5s, and there's just no volume in there. And you're like, okay, Jesus.
So just something for you guys who might be a little newer. I actually didn't learn this until not too long ago, so don't feel bad if you don't know this. But for whatever reason, this is another one of those things, kind of like buyers like breakouts at round numbers. For whatever reason, usually contracts that are 0.5 have terrible volume. Just avoid them. Like for whatever reason, these 197.5s don't have that good a volume, but the 200s do. So I usually just avoid contracts that are like 0.5 just because of that reason. It's not enticing to people for whatever reason, so they're usually not as liquid. So just something to keep in mind. Not always, like on Facebook and Boeing, sometimes they're really liquid, but for the most part, you want to avoid those contracts.
Alec, I have a quick question, like, and this is for you, probably for even for day traders. How do you, or you probably learned this over time, how do you go from, especially as a day trader, you got to be fast and have the fast execution speeds. You're looking at this material, you're looking at the options. Like, what is your process to be like the most efficient in that manner? Looking at a chart, see.
Yeah, so I have my monitor, right? I have a 36-inch monitor, which was like, it was a crazy good Black Friday deal, so I couldn't pass it up. But what I have is I have 6 charts. So I take my 6 favorite stocks, my 6 favorite setups, and I put those 6 charts into TradingView. So I'll go ahead and split screen it like this, because it's all about, if you just focus on 1 or 2 stocks, like especially if you're trading on your phone, you're probably going to make a dumb trade because you're forcing something, or you're going to miss something because you're only looking at 1 or 2 names and you have an entire market to look at. So I'll split screen my chart like this, which they look a lot nicer when it's on a nice big monitor, so I can see it a lot better. And then whatever 6 names those are, if you see right here, I have all 6 on my screen. So I can look at all 6 of these names at the same time. I can see what's breaking out without having to flip through names up here. And then right next to it, I have a contract selected. So let's say I'm looking at Boeing to break out over 265. I pick my contract. I see, okay, the 270s, they're only 180 bucks. That's actually pretty good. The liquidity it's a $1 spread. So that's really good. And the delta's 30. I like that. So I'm going to double click here, and then I'm going to hit copy, right? So I just copied that specific contract. Now I'm going to type Boeing right here. So now I can see what's going on with Boeing. And then right next to it, I'm going to paste that contract I just selected. And now I can go ahead, and if I want to buy 50 contracts, I just type in 50. I make sure I click auto send. And the second it breaks 265, I can hit buy market. And what that's going to do, it's going to tell me rejected because it's after hours. What that's going to do is that's going to instantly fill me with a market order for however many contracts I sent. So I don't have to worry about changing it or anything. Now, guys, this is why it is so crucial to make sure you have a liquid contract, because if you select, Boeing's actually super liquid, so you won't have to worry about this. But if we go back to McDonald's, the bid ask here is $50. So if you try to market order this thing and you get filled at 2.7, you're instantly down $50 a contract. You're probably going to only get filled for 2.22. So it has to be a liquid name, but you're instantly in that trade. So the second it breaks 265, all you have to do is click this button and you're in the trade. You have nothing more to do. Now all you have to do is come down here, click create closing order, or you can even click sell market with one click and you're out. And this is how, you're able to take multiple trades at once, right? So you see Boeing, you click buy. Sorry guys, I know it's really annoying. I'll stop doing that. It's kind of driving me crazy. But you see that happen. And then right down here, Facebook's also breaking out. Awesome. I can go ahead and do that. Now I'm also in Facebook. And then, I'm watching both of them. I'm seeing the price action. So it's all about kind of having as much data as possible on your screen. Now I know a lot of you guys trade with your phone. I was the same way for a while, but I really, really encourage you to get to the desktop application and learn it, because it's gonna take your trading level from, I don't even know how to explain it. It's really gonna make an insane difference once you learn it. It's gonna be intimidating at first, but that's why they have paper money and on demand, so you can kind of practice with fake money.
For sure.
Sorry, I know I just puked a bunch of information at you guys.
Dude,
we're gonna have some educational stuff coming out, so don't worry about it, guys. We'll be able to go over this in depth.
Yeah, this is honestly, I'm almost geeking out because I have my trade thing set up a little bit differently than you. Have charts up so I can find inside day trades. But I might switch you to this because this looks perfect right alongside. And then you can just find the hotkey, switch over to Forex Trader, and then you'll have all the charts lined up. I mean, because I use Thinkorswim for the charting and stuff. That's super streamlined.
Yeah, that's the only reason I don't use Thinkorswim for charting, is because I like to have it separate so that I never even have to take my eyes off the screen. So I have TradingView on my monitor, and I can watch my monitors and I can watch all this at the same time without ever having to take my eyes off it. Right,
yeah. And then what do you do in the rare chance that there's a failed break? Are you immediately out, or you I know that's kind of a per basis sort of thing, but are you only taking these breakouts that you were 100% once they break out they'll fly, which I guess there's never a guarantee in the market, but no, you say you're just watching the number.
Right. So for me, my win percent is 73%, which is great. The greatest day traders have an 80% win rate, which means they're still losing 1 out of every 5 trades. But if you're winning 3 or 4 out of every 5 trades, I mean, you're doing pretty damn good. But the key is managing your losers. So let's say that I got caught up in the hype on Disney and I take it here and it pulls back. Well, the key thing I'm looking at is the volume still there? Are they coming down? If they come down and test this, then I'm done. If they come down to a key level, then I'm done. But this is why I mostly take bounces, guys, because I'll just give you a quick little, this is on the daily chart, but the reason that I hate buying stocks to the upside is because if I buy it up here, it can come down from 198 all the way down to 193 before it can bounce again. But if I take the bounce at 193, it's only coming down $1 or $2. The odds of it coming down more when it's already sold off is so much less likely, and it gives you a lot more breathing room, right? I mean, you guys see it all the time when names gap up and you get caught up in the hype. Those things can reverse $8, $10. But if you wait for that reversal and you follow the rising support, right? We talked about rising support on McDonald's, right? If you wait to buy that rising support, okay, worst case scenario, they break down and then we get out because we know they're probably coming for this 50-day MA. But if you buy it all the way up here, it's got $5 to come down. Compared to here, there's a really good chance it's going to bounce up. So it's all about the risk versus the reward. Now, when a trade does go bad, usually my mental stop loss is about 20%, because that's about what I make on my winners. So if you cut your winners fast, you have to cut your losers fast, right? If you're only making 20% profit on your winners, you can't lose 50% on your losers, because now taking a loss is almost like taking 2 losses. It's going to take 20% wins to make up for that 50% loss. So you have to be really disciplined in that sense. It's almost kind of the same if you're a swing trader. If you're looking for 50 to 100% profit, you can't cut your losses quick, because you have to give the trade time to, it might go down 20% and then come up 50%. So however you're trading, you have to be consistent with your winners as well as your losers. And that's where mental discipline really comes in, which in my opinion is the hardest part of trading is mental discipline by far.
Yeah, and
So
the psychology
it's
behind all
really easy to learn this stuff, but to actually follow your game plan and manage your emotions, I mean, that takes a whole different, that's what separates professional traders from just average traders.
Yeah, that's the emotional aspect. All right. Well, thank you for all of that. That was much appreciated. I love, and I'm sure the other people in here are interested. Love hearing your in-depth, the way you think about the market, because it is very unique to what I hear all the time. So we appreciate that. Does anyone else in here have questions for Alec? He'll be in the Discord, but you know we rather ask him now so he can sit down with his family tonight. We'll give it.
Yeah, no worries. Just ask in the Discord. There's no problem. I definitely want to jump off a little bit early right now, but ask the questions Discord. Yeah, thank you, Alec. Appreciate it so much. Thanks,
no
Gabe,
problem,
as
guys.
well. They're gonna be around here, right? So we're gonna create some education material. We have some plans in place to assist you guys, utilizing all types of research. So really excited to see that. Appreciate it. We'll probably have something like this next week as well, just going through the weekly trades. Other than that, Gabe and Alec, anything else?
No, perfect. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask in the Discord. We're all chill. We don't mind answering them. So yeah, that's all I have to say. But thank you for all for coming.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of the Wednesday, and watch out for quad witching this Friday. Okay, there's some crazy things in the last hour, but yeah, trade lightly. Take care.
All right, guys, have a good night.